Doing good? Yes. Fantastic. Can you make it louder? Doing good? Yes. Okay, that's much better. Welcome to Next Pharma Summit, our third edition here in Vienna. Super proud to be here today. We scaled the event to more than 300 people for the first time here in Vienna, so thanks to everyone. Before we do the opening and the rest of the 2 days' brilliant conversations, just one highlight to mention, which is that this year we, for the very first time, organized 3 next events. So we are somehow annoying you, I would say, already with 3 events. So the flagship one in Dubrovnik with 400 people, this one, as we speak, in Vienna with 300 people, and for the very first time, we also did Next Australia with 300 people, which was an incredible achievement, to be honest, and means that this year, for the very first time, we passed 1,000 single attendees across 3 next events, and of course, thank you so much for supporting us and being part of this great community. Of course, we couldn't make it without you, so really thank you and super proud of achieving 1,000 attendees. Also, for the very first time, we are piloting an interesting initiative, at least we think it's interesting. We call it My Personal Call to Action. So everyone in front of you is having A4 paper and an envelope. So during the event, write down your expectations, key learnings, and commitments for the upcoming 12 months. Once you come back to Next, we will give you the envelope. Of course, you'll read it in the meantime. And then, of course, you can track if you achieved your commitments or not. And now, let's do the opening. Planet Earth, our home, right? We as humans are responsible for greatest inventions, obviously, like we sequenced the genome, we created machines which can think, we even cure diseases before symptoms appear. All true, sometimes we don't understand that progress without empathy isn't progress. And I would say that this is also one of the essential parts of customer experience, right? And one of the very simple examples of, forced progress or forced transformation is happening right now in European Union, which is that Europe, of course European Union, decided to go electric. And actually the reality is, according to recent studies, that today fewer than 20% of European drivers are ready to go fully electric. And in some countries it's still an issue. In many countries it appears that there is charging anxiety, price barriers, and patching infrastructure. As a result of this forced decision of European Union is that the EV market is down in Europe, that, for instance, sales only in Germany is decreasing for 30%. And only in Germany, as a consequence, we have like 50,000 job losses only this year due to the transformation to the EV market from traditional combustion engines. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against electric cars, although I would never drive one. So the message is, the tech is right, but the transformation process from EU isn't. Sounds familiar, right? Why? Because no one asked the customer. And one of very recent, even I would say extreme examples comes, for instance, from Porsche as one of the greatest car manufacturers. It's the Icon. And the Icon actually got it wrong. Why? Because if you ask every single Porsche driver, in so many research and studies which they do, traditional Porsche drivers want petrol cars. And here in the picture, for instance, you can see the camouflaged mule of the brand new Porsche Boxster and Cayman, which supposed to be launched in the market already 2 years ago, but they delayed the decision to publish the full electric Cayman and Boxster for 2027. And in the meantime, they actually decided, well, now we understand our customers, we will also offer an internal combustion engine as well, right? So as a result, what we see in terms of Porsche, because Porsche didn't ask to his customers, they are, after 30 years, again in red. Sales is decreasing, profitability is decreasing for almost 90%, and the company is doing once again the transformation from EV to internal combustion engines. Of course, they will still offer EVs, but somehow they skipped the decision to offer from 2030 only EVs, and they will continue to offer also internal combustion engines as well. But let's start with cars. And actually, the question which I would like to ask you is, what can Pharma learn from this whole electric hype? And when we speak about change and when we speak in Pharma, I would say there's a brilliant quote coming from Winston Churchill, who is saying there is nothing wrong with change if it's in the right direction. And our transformation process is, of course, also, I would say, in a race mode, and we are racing towards transformation empowered with AI, with Omni, Opti, whatsoever channel, customer experience, automation, right? But then somehow we forget simple questions, which is, are we asking the people who really matter to us, our customers, what they truly need and want? Because according to a recent study, which most probably many of you know, 90% of HCPs claim that pharma's digital communication isn't personalized enough. But still, good news, we never had more data, more tools, or more intelligence, right? So that's really good news. But then 70% of HCPs say they feel overwhelmed by pharma content. But luckily, here's the savior, AI. So AI will definitely save customer experience because according to a recent study from MIT report, 5% of AI pilots are successful, right? 95 are not, but still. So what actually would be then the HCP customer experience equation? Because medical teams measure accuracy, as you know, commercial teams measure reach, but who's measuring relevance? And I think that's a definitely very critical question which we all have to ask. Which leads me to, in my opinion, the most important slide, and this is that basically we finally have to define the path and the direction which we would like to take. Either we can still stick to the left path and direction, which many companies are still doing, which is sticking to fancy dashboards, KPIs, AI, digital, Omni, whatsoever, content, right? Or we can finally start to think about asking what, when, and how our customers want, and then empower that with dashboards, KPIs, AI, and digital, right? So, in my opinion, the ultimate blueprint customer experience formula would and should answer on three critical questions, which is who, what, and how. Who, meaning that we finally have to figure out that the HCP is not the only customer in that ecosystem, the customer is much wider. What, instead of being reactive, we finally have to be proactive and actually lead the change. And how, my favorite one, tech drives all and every engagement for the time being, right? But we have finally to make a transformation to company values, culture, and DNA, which drives tech. So ultimately, our customer experience strategy starts with we as Pharma. We will do this and that. We will implement a new channel. We will do those initiatives towards our customers and so on. But in its essence, I would say that's wrong because in its heart, it always should be ask the customer, ask the HCP what they really want and what they want at the end of the day to communicate and how they would like to engage. And before we start with the event, one more thing. We are returning once again to Vienna, November 17th and 18th, same location, same beautiful city. And once again, we are returning to Dubrovnik to our flagship event next 26, May 19 and 20. So who needs tickets, just let us know. We can print them here. And yeah, so hopefully you will enjoy, same as we enjoyed in creating this for you. And really thanks again for joining once again and looking forward to great conversations. Thank you so much.